Okay, today on the Business Blitz podcast, we're here with Brad Smith. Brad, can you give us a quick introduction on yourself, please?
Hey, Colin. Nice to be on your show. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it. I'm Brad Smith. I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina. I have a marketing and advertising agency that focuses on X ads. So really cool and email automations. Been doing it for almost 10 years now. Helped 2,500 plus people so far. So I really like just helping businesses find those missing links. That's why I called it automation links, and then get results from there.
Awesome. Thanks for that background. And one of my favorite questions to ask is I would like to back up a little bit because in my opinion, the insight and the guidance you give our viewers today is only as good as your track record. So back up a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your journey before you launched your business. What did your background look like?
Man, I actually have an entrepreneur background. My grandpa started and owned his own tire business back in the day. If you start a tire business, you're an entrepreneur back then. There was no internet. Um, my grandmother did Shackley, so she was selling, multi-level marketing stuff, but still entrepreneurial. And then from there, when I was 15, I started making garden benches and having to go to greenhouses and walk in. My dad would force me. I didn't even have my license. He'd drive me there. He'd stay in the truck. I'd get out and I'd have to go sell basically on layaway my garden benches. So I learned sales at 15, started my own business, had my own business cards then. Um, that was like one of the most powerful things when I was a kid that taught me sales at 15. I mean, who learned sales at 15? And then actually making money, building something and then selling it, the simple idea.
Yeah, once you
From
catch
there,
that, I'm assuming once when you were 15, you caught that entrepreneurial bug, right? You've made money from your own thing and you're like, I don't want to go back. At least that's kind of what happened to me. That's an accurate statement.
100%, because I went and got a concrete job where I worked for somebody else and had to go do concrete outside. I'm like, this isn't the life. This isn't like doing your own thing. This is weird.
Yeah. Yeah, we're a different breed, us entrepreneurs for sure. Okay,
Exactly.
so I want you to tell me about a time that was a pivotal moment that kind of shaped who you are today. Is there any time in your life up to this point that's been a pivotal moment?
A good question to ask at that time, because my next journey was I started coaching hockey players. I have a hockey background just like you, which is cool that we connected. That transitioned to a fitness company. I grew my fitness company, and that transitioned into a car accident my wife and I were in. So we had a really successful fitness company, number one on Google, and we got rear-ended by somebody going 50 miles per hour. Put
Wow.
the trunk through the back seat. My wife had head injuries from that, and I have 11 herniated discs in my neck and back. So now
Wow.
what? Because I can't be doing this fitness stuff anymore, because I could barely walk for a year or two. So I'm like, what now? So I had to learn to pivot. And that's something that I never thought about. Like, you never know what's going to happen, whether it's in politics, maybe something happens with the election where you got to pivot. It's in family life, something happens with your spouse and you have to move and you have to pivot. So most people aren't ready to pivot. And they really only have that one stream of income coming in. So that taught me I'm never going to put myself in this situation again. I need to be able to pivot at any time if I need to. And I also need to have multiple streams of income coming in so I'm not stuck to one thing just in case.
Yeah. The pivoting is interesting. Our last podcast guest, Jason Pearl, he was actually promoted to a new job. He moved his entire family to North New Jersey. And pretty much right away, they said, we're closing down all these branches. So he's like, okay, I got to figure something else out. So if you haven't watched that podcast, really interesting one, give that a listen as well. Okay, yeah,
Cool.
thanks for sharing, Brad. And so I want to hear about more about automation links and X ads. I want to hear about your process of acquiring clients. I mean, when people first start a business, that's pretty much the toughest part. You got to get your first clients. So what does your customer acquisition look like?
Well, I learned to be scrappy in all my businesses. If you're not scrappy, you're not going to cut it as an entrepreneur, because first of all, you got to be passionate, excited about it. And then you have to be scrappy to find ways to make it work. And then you have to be patient. So it really took me 2 years to get this thing off the ground. I'm going on over 9 years now, but 2 years of making $0 pretty much. A lot of people think that they can just start this business and it's successful in a month or two. Yes, it happens, but not often, right? So probably 10% of the time it happens, but 90% of the time you got to be scrappy, you got to hustle, and you got to be patient for years before something takes off. So one cool thing that I did when I say scrappy was when I first started online was I joined LinkedIn. I started posting stuff on LinkedIn and I'm like, no one's responding. No one's responding to my messages. No one's liking my posts. So what should I do? And it's funny because I like to use a story when I'm on a podcast. I started a podcast for client acquisition. So I'm like, well, what if I ask them to be on a podcast? I'd asked a few people and they all said yes. I'm like, well, they didn't even know that I don't even have a podcast yet. So I'm like, I don't have a podcast. I have 0 fans. And they all said yes because I was making it about them and not about myself. So that's what I learned at the very beginning. Make your sales, your outreach, or your marketing about them and maybe something that can promote them, something that can help them, something that will help them get to the next step or whatever pain point they have, and then they'll listen. But if you make it about you, they're going to ignore you. So I reached out, can you be on my podcast? I want to share your story. And after that, they all became about 40% of I had about 200 episodes. About 40% of those 200 episodes became clients at some point. Some would become a client a week later. Some would become a client a month later. And that's kind of where it started was I did something for them. And then here's the kicker. They saw my face on Zoom, build a relationship through Zoom. Then they were more likely to hire me after because we had that relationship. So
Genius.
long story short, that's when I said, all right, podcasting is working with my face. What's the next best thing? Videos. And that's where I started making YouTube videos. And now that's one of my primary sources of customers coming in.
That's incredible. Great story. How long did it take you to record 200 episodes?
Well, we're going on 7 years. YouTube notified me of my 7-year anniversary last Friday.
Wow.
So
yeah,
on and off for 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, just long term, you can't always just expect immediate results. I think a lot of people these days, they're always looking for the get rich quick schemes. I've got friends who try to launch several different businesses and they have some good ideas, but they just pivot too fast because they just haven't really stuck with it. So yeah, I like what you're saying there.
That's why I say you got to be passionate about it as well. Like a lot of people are looking for the big thing and what may be a trend, but are you going to be able to stick with the trend for 2 to 5 years? Or are you going to get distracted by something maybe you're more passionate about? So I always go back to, hey, if I would have started a hockey company 10 years ago, like that's a dream job, right?
Yeah.
I could have made it work if I would have waited 10 years about something I was passionate about.
Right. Yeah, totally agree. That makes sense. Okay, so we talked a little bit about social media, and this is I'm turning this into kind of like my flagship question because I am such a huge advocate for social media, and I'm active on Twitter, LinkedIn, all the video platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. How are you using social media to grow your business?
Goes back to the relationship aspect, making friends, just building connections, building relationships. You and I feel like we have a relationship now, whether we ever do business together or not, like I'm here to support you just because you supported me back. So that's what I'm doing because I saw the power of video making my YouTube videos. The best thing is to see someone face to face and you and I actually shake hands and we go play golf together, right?
Right.
But you can't do that with thousands of people. So the next best thing was sharing your video face to face. And then the third thing is making real connections with people that will support you. So that's not my social media strategy, but that's what I know I need to do on social media. I need to go make 100 friends that I support first. And I need to make helpful educational videos that people can learn from. And eventually it'll come back. Like maybe not today, but you'll share a post and one of your followers will find me. I'll make a video that somebody comments on and one of their followers will see it. So I'm thinking of the smaller play here. I'm not trying to go viral. I'm just trying to help 1,000 people. What is it? 1,000 true fans that booked back in the day. So if you have 1,000 true connections on social media, They're going to support you, share your stuff, and you'll get clients from it.
Yeah, 100%. And I'd like to bring up the law of reciprocity. If you don't know what that is, basically it's when you help someone else, the law of reciprocity states that they're going to help you back. They're going to reciprocate. So that's a super valuable law to keep in mind when you're commenting on people's social media, when they're when you're helping people, they typically return the favor. So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
You can see the difference between my my Twitter and my Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram, I'm not making friends. I'm not supporting people. So I have 0 people supporting me.
Yeah.
Twitter, I'm supporting people every day. Hundreds of people supporting back.
For sure. Okay. I want to know what your unique selling proposition is. Why should clients hire you?
Well, the exciting thing now for us is doing X advertising. We started with websites. Then we did websites and Google ads. We did Facebook ads, and we do all the automation stuff for it. I get crazy responses about how many people hate Facebook ads, right? Especially right now. They're getting worse and worse and worse. They're banning people's accounts. I talked to a guy spending $100,000 a month on Facebook ads, selling something for guitars. They shut his account down for no reason. So he can't even spend any money now, and he can't make any money if he's not advertising, right? So people are now looking for other options. The option a few years ago was go dance on TikTok and make a ton of money. So that's not really my industry. I don't know if I can go do that. Maybe the dad everyone makes fun of for dancing or something. But
I'd love to see you break out a few moves, Brad.
You know, like the awkward dad channel. You know, maybe that one. But I couldn't do that. So I'm always looking for the next thing, right? What's the next thing that has the low price attention? Gary Vaynerchuk talks about that. Look for the low price attention. And that's X ads right now. You know, as soon as I heard Elon Musk say to his advertisers that stopped advertising, he said, go F yourself to them. That was like a light bulb moment. Okay, I don't have to compete with Coca-Cola on X because they're gone. Like, let's move over there. It's going to be low cost ads and we're going to have all the attention. So that's where we're at now. We've stopped working with clients for Facebook ads just because it's too much of a pain. And we are helping people get millions and millions of views and impressions on their post just from running some low cost X ads.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And I actually, for the viewers, Brad's got a course. I actually took the course and ran some X ads myself with a ridiculously low cost per click. I think I'm at 19 cents per click driving traffic to my website for my company Founder Brands right now. It's absolutely insane. Highly recommend working with Brad on X ads if you're interested.
And that's the thing is not, and you asked me why somebody should hire us, like what makes us different, right? So a lot of people will just go set up the X ads or Facebook ads and say, go to my website and buy something. What makes us different is we take a different approach. How can you build better relationships on your social media with ads? Because not everyone can just get a bunch of clicks and have random people want to buy. You got to build relationships with people before they buy, or you have to be a trusted brand. So our strategy is build relationships first, just get them to follow you, engage with your posts, and then retarget them to go to your website after they've seen you and learned about you. So yeah, I just wanted to answer that too.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. You need to create that funnel. You can't just go from top immediately to bottom. It doesn't really work like that. You got to nurture. Okay. So another question I love to ask is, what is the worst business experience you've had so far?
Well, shoot, man.
I
You
know.
didn't warn me about this.
Putting the pressure on you.
I actually have a lot. Because we calculated it last year. I've worked with about 2,500 people over the last 10 years. So that's a lot. Worst business experience is I have had a few people out there that will scam you for free services and dispute the charges. So that's one thing that I like to remind, especially new business owners, anyone that starts online. The most simple thing you can do is, of course, a contract, right? We have DocuSign now. Send the DocuSign, get a signature. I know it gets in the way. They got to do that before you get paid. But then ask for their billing address associated with the card. What happens is if you don't have their billing address associated with the card they purchased from, every bank will side with them. So I've had somebody hire us for a $10,000 website. We spent 3 to 4 months building the whole thing, weekly Zoom calls with them, so much time, so much effort, 4 people on my team doing all the work that I got to pay. Here's your website. They love it. It's awesome. Next day, dispute on my card. And not only do they take the 10 grand back, but they charge you a fee as well. So now I'm negative 10 grand. So that's happened more than once. I didn't learn my lesson from that one. So even if you do a great job, doesn't matter. Bank will always side with the person purchasing if you don't have their signature and if you don't have their card on file address.
Interesting. So do you put that billing address in the services contract or in the payment processor? Which one is important?
You have to do it in the payment processor to prove that it's the right one, because they won't charge the card unless the right address is in there. That's why you go to Amazon or any big company out there, you have to put your billing address in, and they verify it with your zip code and your 3 or 4 digits.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's super useful. I actually don't have a ton of experience with that. I've luckily not had that chargeback experience. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, bro. That's crucial stuff. Okay. We'll wrap it up with one more question. I want to know let's have a fun one here. What's the best investment you've made in your career so far?
Right there. The YouTube plaque.
Nice. And what does that indicate?
So 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And it's not the number. It's the fact that I've invested my time. By the way, it took me 6 months to make my first YouTube video because I was so nervous. I was awkward. Every day my hair would be messed up, or I didn't know what to say, or I'd have something on my face, or I wasn't wearing the right shirt. Made an excuse every day for 6 months before I made my first one. My first one was obviously awful. But what's unique is if you go to Mr. Beast's channel, if you go to all these other really popular channels, you can sort from oldest to newest. And if you look at their first 100 videos, you'll be shocked. So investing time, learning, I learned how to do the hook, how to make the video. The second best thing to meeting someone face-to-face, like I said earlier, is the video, the face-to-face. That's been the biggest investment that has come back to me, because when you get somebody that calls you, you jump on a Zoom for a sales call, like Colin, you're thinking you're going to have to answer a bunch of questions for them, right? But they get on and you're like, Colin, I've been watching all your YouTube videos. I'm ready to sign up.
Yeah. Right.
That's not a sales call anymore. That's looking forward to working with you. So I get those all the time, and it's incredible.
Yeah. How many YouTube videos do you have?
It's over 600, I think.
Wow. That's a lot of work for sure. Yep. But you got to put that work in, right?
And it's not about the numbers. Like, it's not about subscribers. It's not about how many videos I've made. Like, obviously you need to make enough to where they get found, right? It's just about that relationship. I would rather have 100 people watch my videos that are all 100 potential customers than 100,000 people that aren't.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm going through that same process right now on Twitter with Twitter followers as well. High quality beats quantity every day.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, Brad, we'll drop some links underneath if we want to work with Brad or learn more or hear more from him. Thanks for coming on the podcast today. And yeah, thanks again.
Appreciate you, Colin. Thanks everyone for watching.
All right. Bye.